University graduates in the United States will this year be walking into entry-level jobs that will be paying them six-figure salaries. Industries are in big tech, finance, and consulting firms. An investment bank that paid a Harvard graduate $85,000 starting salary in 2016 is now paying $110,000 today for the same position, according to research done by the Wall Street Journal. So joining us to speak more on this, we have Shakirat Adigun, who is an analyst with a financial derivatives company limited. Shakirat, good afternoon to you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good afternoon, Otis.
So what are the triggers behind, if I can put that up, what are the triggers? Talk us through the triggers leading to this wage increase.
Okay, so there's like a tight labor force in the US right now. So people, like during the pandemic, there are like 555,000 workers short of how labor was before the pandemic. And during the pandemic, people actually decided to retire early and then start off with their own business. And this has reduced the availability of talent within the labor force. And because of this, it has caused some sort of competition between firms. Like, okay, there's limited talent and they want to hire these people. So there's I don't know the word to use, that people want to pay more for these talents. Right. So let me use an example. So I'm working here and the amount you're paying me, I'm working in a company and the amounts they're offering me outside is higher than what I'm getting. It's an incentive for them to want to increase how much they're paying me so they can retain me in the company. Right. Then we have big the tech companies. People are actually trying to keep up with because tech people are actually hiring these talents, and we have consulting and banking firms that are trying to keep up with the talents that these big firms are hiring. Right. So because of that, they are increasing their salaries. Like we have the likes of BCG, McKinsey. We have Goldman Sachs. And
BCG, just for our viewer, that's Boston Consulting Group,
yes,
right?
Yes, and Goldman Sachs. We have all of them trying to pay their first-year analyst $100,000, and they've even increased it to $110,000 just to be at par with these big tech firms. Yeah. These tech firms, they're disrupting everything. So this is the reason why, like,
disrupting everywhere.
This is the reason for the increase in wage rates.
Yeah. So what about wage inflation? How does that factor in when you look at, I guess, in wage growth in the United States over the past year or so? Okay,
so the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics usually releases what we call the Employment Cost Index. Yeah. And they do this on a quarterly basis. And it says that, what's the name of this thing? The annual rates for like December 2020 was 4.5%. Right. Yeah. And then the one for between September and December last year, 2021, it went down to 4.4% year on year. And then this is without these are like the nominal wages and salaries without even putting the inflation without factoring in inflation to this. Yep. But then yesterday, the pre-inflation bulletin was released, and it shows that inflation had hiked up to 7.9%. Exactly. So if we factor in this inflation to these nominal wages in real terms, the wage rate has actually dropped to 4.3%. Yeah. So the inflation has actually affected the wage. If you look at it now, how much I was earning before was not. My purchasing power isn't as strong as I think if I factor in the inflation to it. Yes.
Interesting. So is there a downside for a young person just coming out of university making $110,000 right out the bat? Is there any? I mean, they'll say it's good. I don't know who anybody would argue against that, but surely there's got to be some issues that raises. When the other colleagues who have been working, like the person who was working at the same firm in 2016 that was earning $85,000, and then a young graduate just comes in and they're making $110,000. There's got to be some jealousy there.
Yes, so I wouldn't say the downside is. I don't say it has any downside on the parts of the graduates. Yeah. I mean, I'll be happy if that was my first. But then I think it's more on the perception of those that have been working before. I mean, for it, like the average annual salary of a worker in the US is like $42,000. Right. Then if you look at maybe 2016, how much they were paying like in the banks, was like between $60,000 to $85,000. Then even if we look at the white collar jobs as well, even if they were paying this amount, this 100, if they're paying well, like probably as good as 100,000, they had to work their way up.
Right.
So they had to do overtime. They had
sweat.
Before they got to that point. So now imagine me after all my sweat, somebody just comes in and is not even doing as much work.
Exactly. A year.
Earning that much. There will be some sort of jealousy or some sort. So yeah, that's, I think, is basically on the part of those that have been working before. But there's nothing on
any sense of entitlement on the graduates themselves?
Yes, I can buy a Tesla if I want to buy one with that amount. Yes, so yeah.
I just heard, Elon Musk just gave birth to a child and a surrogate, and he named the child Y. And the Y model, I think they just increased prices, but you can still, with 100K, definitely buy a Tesla with that money for a graduate company. Very interesting then, the U.S. labor market. Shakirat Adigun, analyst with Financial Derivatives Company Limited, appreciate you coming in.